Hello everyone, I'm Chris Mazzillo, Sawtooth Son, and this is a review-ish of Horizon Zero Dawn. Set 1,000 years in the future, we follow Aloy, who is a little baby.
I am a high matriarch, Rost. I bless whom I choose.
Then you honor us.
Speak her name!
Aloy!
What is this, The Lion King? Anyway, following the story of Aloy, who turns out to also be the ugliest child I think I've ever seen in any video game, like ever. Jesus Christ, look how disgusting that is. Ugh! We follow Aloy as she stumbles around some ruins and acts as a fun tutorial of sorts. And it opens really morbidly because, I mean, look at this. You're walking around just dead bodies in this sort of carcass of history, as there are literally dead people lying around you, and you read their final thoughts of some sense.
I don't know anyone, anything, anymore.
But, anyway, robot dinosaurs. Aloy, who was sort of abandoned at birth, has one question in life that she wishes to find out. Who was her mother?
Who was my mother?
Yeah, exactly. And apparently the only way that she can ever find this answer out is by fighting in some big tournament-like thing and winning. But how is Aloy ever gonna get good enough in such a short amount of time? Training montage. Let's see. I am the tiger, is the thrill of the fight. The tiger. Of the tiger. Aloy, now being a fully grown adult of potentially, I don't know, like 16 or something, it's never really greatly explained, is now running around and, you know, getting ready to find out, finally, who is her mother.
Who was my mother?
Which seems like a pretty simple game to be honest. If that's her driving force and she's going to find out pretty quickly, Jesus, short game. Although obviously things go wrong and surprise, surprise, you find yourself going on a mass exploration of the world to find out who is your mother.
Who was my mother?
And also why some people killed a load of dudes. There's that as well. Overall though, I really greatly enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. As much as I'm sort of taking the mick of the story of sorts, the story is outstanding. Let me be frank here. Both the main story and the side quests are all really fun, and I found myself getting lost in the various side quests around the map. It's got a very sort of witchery sense to the side quests, where they deal with surprisingly heavy issues every now and then, and sure, there are some which are silly and dumb, but others deal with a character almost wanting to commit suicide because of a lost lover, and sort of having to come to terms with loss and, you know, fuck. It's deep. The story's got this, like, double-layer narrative going on that works amazingly well, as not only do you have the main characters of the main story, of which really there's Aloy and one or two other people, you end up getting the second layer story of the events in the past, in which you're introduced to so many characters you finally begin to learn what's happened, and rather conveniently, the order in which you explore ruins are also apparently the order in which history kind of took place, as you kind of get to witness their stories and how they come to terms with events that have transpired, and eventually, like, their last few final moments. And it's incredible. Genuinely, fuck, I can't even make any jokes. I love the story. As you explore throughout the world, you'll come across a whole host and variety of angry fucking robot dinosaurs who apparently just want to nothing more in their day but rip off your face. Let me be honest with you, they'll do that a few times. Robot dinosaurs hurt. Literally, like, a swift kick to the spine from a robot gazelle, yeah, you're probably not going to live through it. Or maybe you live long enough to get another swift kick to your spine. It's this sort of challenge in punishing, like, difficulty, even on normal difficulty, things kill you in like 2 hits. It hurts being hit by laser beams and giant metal contraptions, and it's wonderful because there's such a focus on learning about these contraptions and machines and how to deal with them. You don't end up just relying on one weapon to deal with everything. Even my like sniper bow, which basically could 2 or 3 hit things, was useless up until I got them nice and ready and juicy and sort of getting rid of their certain bits and pieces. You end up using a surprising amount of your like arsenal and kit, either to plant traps or tie them down or exploit an elemental weakness or remove a gun. All of the equipment you were given is actually useful. You don't get this sort of Witcher syndrome where your swords are fine. I mean, Qwen's good, but all you really need is swords. In this, your main bow is a little meh, and all the other bows have, you know, weaknesses and strengths, whether they be, you know, they'll hit hard but they draw slow, or you know, purely there for elemental exploitation. Every single weapon I fucking used, apart from the slings, but that's because I had other things to fill the roles. I genuinely loved fighting each and every robot dinosaur up until one single fucking machine. Glinthawks. These fucking bastards were possibly the worst thing in the entire game. Aiming up is not something this game does very well, because it's third person, and what ends up happening is the camera pans down into some grass, and you've got a face full of grass. You can't really aim up high enough a lot of the time to actually hit these birds. Not to mention they're tiny, really frustrating to hit, and don't actually have any weak points immediately until you remove some of bits and pieces. And even then, they hurt a lot. They're one of my most annoying things that I came across in the entire game. Literally, anytime I saw Glinthawks, I just moved the fuck along because I could not stand these fucking birds. Christ. But otherwise, all the other creatures were really fun. Large creatures were imposing and scary. I mean, the weird tunneling things were also kind of fucking annoying. That's just because there's a lot of waiting around. It was a bit bullshit. Otherwise, I loved it. I loved hunting these giant creatures and, you know, choosing to stealthily go around and play some traps, or suddenly finding yourself you've been detected and not everything's gone to plan, and suddenly you're just crapping your pants as a sawtooth is trying to maul on your knees. Because you've got all these other creatures roaming around you, you're in the wilderness, you're in the wild. It's not like Monster Hunter, for example, in which it's you and one other creature in a fight to the death, which works fine in Monster Hunter, but in this, it's you, one creature that you're focusing on, and then like 10 other things that might come in and start beating you up. Like fucking Glinthawks, the fucking bastards. I hate those things so much! However, despite all that, it's fucking lovely to fight all these different monsters, and so much of the game, at least in the gameplay sense, is focused on just learning the best way to take out these creatures and their weaknesses, and sort of learning the ropes, almost literally, of how to deal with things. While I joke that Glinthawks were one of my least favourite things in the entire game, fucking Glinthawks! Another kind of upsetting issue is that the climbing was really wonky. It's either not very clear where you can climb, or so I found myself at times running around this sort of large rock formation trying to find the one bit of cliff that I can actually grab onto, just jumping at the side of a mountain. Or, when you're up a mountain, the next place to go to is not very obvious either, so you jump off a cliff and suddenly you're in a part of the map which you're almost definitely not meant to be in. Overall though, it's possibly what I've described it as the best Tomb Raider game possible. The ruins are amazing, and you actively raid tombs and explore them, and there's information to learn and interest to be gained from looking into these ancient ruins. There's such a somber tone around the entire game. As sure, you're fighting these giant robot dinosaurs and it's all scary and intense, but you're also going around like what looks very similar to our current world, but is devastated, and there's nothing more than a skeleton of skyscrapers and streetlights. When you go into these actual ruins and facilities, as you've got dead bodies strewn across the place, like fossilized in a sense and mummified, and you can do nothing to them but read and learn of their final moments and how many of them were enjoying and how many of them were not enjoying where they ended up. It's a game with characters I really enjoyed and wanted to learn more about. And it's the case where learning about them is, up to you. You can choose to just blitz through the story and not care. Or you can choose to, engage with these characters and find out about their histories. Even one of the more major characters in your life, you actively have to find out about him your own way. And it's a somber and upsetting tale. So I just really suggest playing Horizon Zero Dawn. If you have a PS4, go for it. And if you don't, why? It's got Horizon Zero Dawn on it. It's genuinely a really good game. Despite those fucking glint hawks.